It's Sunday school. Welcome to Sunday school. Gather round, boys and girls. Let's open with a prayer. There, that was mine. How's yours? Keep it short. You know, I'm only sort of joking there because, and it seems kind of corny because when I was growing up anyway, almost every event, any public event of some kind, football game, basketball game, I don't know about baseball. For some reason, baseball escaped it. But in any local sort of event, a school convocation, any sort of public gathering, civic gathering, they all started with a prayer or what they called an invocation. And you didn't think very much of it. As a matter of fact, unless a minister or a local pastor or something was giving the invocation, you didn't even, put two and two together that it was anything particularly parochial or religious. And you get sort of numb to it, and they became kind of stupid, and you sort of made fun of them. Like at football games, high school football games, the person delivering the invocation, let's all rise. Well, Pastor so-and-so of the Bible Baptist Church gives the invocation. And it's like, dearly God, Father Jesus, look down upon these boys and make them victorious upon this athletic field of combat. Stupid stuff. But invocations, really, or a prayer before an opening. Masons don't blow their nose ceremonially or officially without a prayer of some kind. You don't do anything important without invoking the support, the divine support for what you're doing. And it's a very healthy, magical thing to do, especially if you kind of look at it that way. And of course, Masonic prayers are or should be, completely generic and universal, and anyone of any religion would feel comfortable with a Masonic type invocation. Well, anyway, why did I get off on that? I wanted to talk this morning because I ran across something to me is kind of rare, and I have a bin full of my magical diaries over the years, and a few of those are class diaries, Magick Class diaries, because we did a weekly class in our home, and our move to Sacramento 2 years ago sort of put an end to that. Actually, the pandemic put an end to classes that we had been doing weekly and for a few years 2 times a week since 1979. So that's many, 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 many years of a magical class in our home. And I ran across notes from 2005. Okay, that's not all that long ago, but it was interesting to me because it covered things that we were doing and discussing around that time, and it was during the middle of or in the midst of a new Enochian magic series of classes. But anyway, I'm going to start with somebody wrote me, how do you manage to run a class for 25 years it was at the time? I'm sure there's no end to subject matter, but don't people drive you nuts? How do you cope with the ones who complain they're not making progress, but they don't do the work? I don't care if they do the work. I like people, you know. I don't care if you don't do the work. If you do the work, I'm very happy. Well, it's not my business whether you do the work. Can you behave yourself in my house for 2 hours? Will you laugh at my jokes? I love you. Also, why did you decide to make class free? You don't buy into the exchange of energies idea? I assume there are no costs to you or that you absorb them. Shit, yes, we absorb them. I would love to run a free class, but there are costs involved for me in terms of room hire, photocopying, etc. Money is convenient, but not entirely necessary. I would never, ever turn someone away just because they were broke. But for every single free student ends up quitting or just not sticking with it. Again, I don't give a fuck what you stick with. Might not be for you. I'm not in it to make you stick with it. The excuses become about time instead of money. What do you make of that? Thank you. Dear name withheld, please excuse me if this letter is briefer than we both prefer. And I go on, I'm packing, going somewhere here. Yeah. I will try to answer your question if a bit out of order. How have I been able to manage Monday night Magick Class for over 25 years? I don't know, really. Firstly, I can't say it's my class per se. Class would not be what it is without the efforts and presence of my dear wife and partner, Constance. You see, we've always held class in our home, in our living room. It's a casual and intimate event, for as crowded as it sometimes gets. Most attendees have to sit on pillows on the floor, or else perch on the steps to the loft. Average Monday night Magick Class is 12 attendees, a large evening perhaps 30, a small night 5 or 6. The mere fact that we hold class in our home establishes a relaxed and respectful atmosphere where I serve more as a host than a teacher. Attendees feel more like guests than students. This keeps everyone on their best behavior. Constance spends most of the days setting the stage for class. She's a bit of a neat, clean freak, picking up and arranging flowers, decorating the living room table with magical items relevant to the night's subject. And during class, she will be my most ruthless heckler. The ritual opening of class entails the passing out of coasters, after which Constance serves tea. This allows for a few minutes for latecomers to arrive. Regulars come from as far away as San Diego, which is 85 miles, Lake Elsinore, 50 miles, Los Angeles, 45 miles. So we try to cut them at least 15 minutes slack. And now I'm going to jump a bit out of order and talk about why class is free. First of all, we do place a donation basket conspicuously near the door. The proceeds from this usually pay for tea. When we have an especially large class, I make sure to remind them that, quote, tonight is your opportunity to really make a difference in the DuQuette's income. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by the, quote, exchange of energies idea. But I do know this. A class such as this, doesn't serve well as a money-making endeavor. I do hold workshops, seminars, and lectures all over the country, indeed all over the world. I am the most shameless of self-promoters, and I am not at all above charging plenty for these events. And not only to pay my expenses, but to help me pay my rent. But I open my home once a week because I love magic, and I love to teach it, talk about it, practice it, and most importantly and most selfishly, to learn more about it with people. If there is an exchange of energy, it is certainly to my advantage because I get far more out of class than I give. Keeping that in mind, now you know why class members don't drive me nuts. I already am nuts. In fact, the fact that we don't charge money for classes more or less neutralizes any potential complainers. Hell, I can't judge for sure if anyone is making progress or not. I'm not sure I'm supposed to presume to do that. Class goes on. And those who feel that they're not getting anything out of it quietly disappear, and those that feel they are, getting something out of it, stay on year after year. When I'm out of town or ill, it is they who step in and run class. Our class members come from a wide socioeconomic band, from struggling musicians on one end of the spectrum to wealthy business owners on the other. It would put everyone in the wrong frame of mind if I were to charge, say, $20 per class. It would be too much for the musician, who will stop coming, and it is not enough for the business owner, who will fall into the trap of thinking he or she is only getting $20 worth of magical education out of the class and will soon move on to other more expensive programs. By charging nothing, everyone sees that what they're getting is priceless. The musician brings his or her friends, and the business person, when he or she sees the needs, buys us a new computer or builds a $75,000 temple. Yes, that really happened. I realize our situation's a bit different than yours, maybe a lot different. But maybe not as much as you think. Either way, for us, the secret of a long-running class lies in the fact that we hold it in our own home and make it a highly personal event. Can you see how heartbroken we are here? I digress. Because each class is a mix of absolute newcomers and experienced adepts, I am forced week after week, month after month, year after year, no matter what the subject, to constantly readdress the fundamentals, while at the same time bringing provocative, new insights to the subject. It's like ballet class. The adepts have to attend regularly to be constantly reminded of the fundamentals and to stay in shape. The neophytes have to attend regularly to learn the fundamentals and get a chance to work out with and learn from seasoned pros. I hope this has been helpful. Okay, now why am I reviewing that? because of this thing that I found today. This is Monday, June 6th, 2005, 8 p.m., new moon, 12 degrees Gemini. Big class, 27 with C and me, Constance and me. Subject, registration night for new ongoing class in Enochian magic. Handouts, a bibliography, mostly Enochian stuff for them to refer to. And I made gold paper stock Pele rings, Enochian rings. And it'd be nice for them to have a copy of Enochian Vision Magic. Briefly lectured on what the class will be about and outlined where we will begin. So on this first night, we scried EHNB. That's sort of the master angel of the Tablet of Union. Only one call is necessary, and it gets everybody used to kind of hearing the Enochian language, gets everybody comfortable in feeling how that hearing that call and being exposed to the music of the angelic language puts them in a relaxed and elevated meditative mood. So, and it also proves that they'll live through it. We scryed EHNB just to get folks warmed up for scrying. We had the coffee table covered and 2 black mirrors and several crystal balls were placed at eye level if you were sitting on the floor. These were there for demonstration purposes mostly, but when we scryed, Jill, and Jill was one of our regular class members, and she was a talented scryer. Some people can close their eyes and pretty much scry easily, and others have to work really hard until something snaps and they're good scryers. But anyway, Jill sat and gazed into the obsidian black mirror, the OBM. With one exception, everybody got something. Nothing too earth-shaking, I said. Yeah. When I mean everybody got something, we'd just go around the room. And, after I would do the call, we would sit quietly for maybe like 5 minutes. We'd just sit quietly. And I just told everybody, just let your mind wander anywhere it wants to go, but just observe. Stand apart and observe where your mind is wandering. That's all the scrying instructions I gave. And with one exception, everybody got something. In other words, what was going through your mind in those 5 minutes? And everybody shared something. And those that didn't, I would always say, they'd say, I didn't get anything. I didn't see anything. Well, what were you thinking? I wasn't thinking anything. You weren't thinking anything? No. If you could not think of anything, you'd be Buddha already. You wouldn't even need to be in this class. They said, well, what were you thinking about? Oh, I was going to the grocery store and and then what? And then they started to observe what they were thinking. And 9 times out of 10, as they were replaying and observing what they were thinking, it went off into strange little areas. Sometimes it's as dramatic as, I didn't get anything. I couldn't think of anything. I tried, and then they described, well, all I could think about, I was thinking about s'mores. I was hungry for s'mores. And yeah, when did you eat s'mores? Oh, I was thinking about sitting around the campfire at Boy Scout camp, and we were around this fire, but because we're at Magick Class here, everybody around the fire was in like black robes, and and they go into a full freaking vision, and they didn't even know they were having a full freaking vision. Okay, it all kicked off from s'mores, and s'mores meant to, oh, I didn't get anything. It's the fact that you have to trick yourself into admitting that you're the observer of your own consciousness. Be that as it may, the last thing I said here was nothing too earth-shaking. Thursday, June 9th. So that was Monday, June. 1 p.m., work party film shoot. Okay, the work party was our friend and filmmaker, Kenneth Anger, wanted to shoot Constance and I doing mass at that our temple out at Lake Elsinore. That's the $75,000. It's a beautiful structure, and he wanted to shoot us doing mass because he wanted to do a film about the Gnostic Mass, and he wanted, a reference of things, so we could shoot certain things, out of sequence, like filmmakers shoot it. We weren't going to be in the movie. This is just for his reference. Okay. I don't believe he ever has yet to go through with the project. But anyway, we thought we were honored to help out there. And so that was Thursday, June 9th. But remember, back at Monday night class, I said nothing too earth-shaking. Sunday, June 12th, 8:41 a.m., morning meditation, earthquake event. Okay, at the time I was doing morning meditations and chanting and mantra stuff out in the patio. I was sitting in the garden for my morning meditation. Instead of my usual routine of mantras, I chanted the names of the Enochian letters surrounding the holy table. I was interrupted by a 6.5 earthquake during the third round. Nothing too earth-shaking. Monday, June 13th. Earthquake event, but this time in Chile, a major one. And I've a 7.9. And I put the details from the news story on that. The world's third strongest Templar since that set off an Asian tsunami in December. Wow. Now, I'm not saying that Enochian magic kicked off those earthquakes, but when you do start something magical, you sort of start observing what's going on around you. Not that there's a cause and effect of it, but you just become more conscious of things. Like when you first start doing the pentagram ritual, you see things out of the corner of your eye, like, oh, I did a pentagram ritual. And out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw something go by. Something like that. Or, gee, that pentagram ritual, I'm unusually horny today, or something like that. Okay. Must be that pentagram ritual. Anyway, okay, let me see if I can find the next page. Next Monday night class, June 13th, 2005, EV, 8 p.m., moon 5 degrees in Virgo. Now this time the Enochian subject was the holy table and the ensigns of creation. Handouts. The key to the Enochian alphabet, a poster board version of the holy table, and then a handout of the key to the holy table, what the letters mean and how you'd pronounce them. Then the emblems of creation. Those are the 7 planetary talismans that are little magic squares in and of themselves that are placed around the center of the holy table. And a little poster board version of the Sigillum Dea Meth. Exercise, scrying. After talking about the unveiling of our holy table, now I had my whole holy table set up in the living room now, the full thing with the coverings over it and the table legs sitting on 4 miniature Sigillum Dea Meths and the emblems of creation and the red silk carpet and the red cloth over the top, and over the top of that the scrying mirror, the whole enchilada. After talking about and then unveiling the holy table, placing the 7 ensigns of creation in the wax Sigillum Dea Meth, covering it all with the red cloth with the gold tassels, placing the obsidian black mirror on its clear stand upon the covered Sigillum Dea Meth. Class, 7 rounds, Tibetan style, of the names of the Enochian letters on the perimeter of the holy table, beginning from Pa, which is an Enochian B, Pa in the upper right-hand corner, and reading Widdershins, or to the left. Michael and I simultaneously chanted the 12 letters in the center. So we had class read the perimeter chant, if you will, one by one, the Enochian letters of the perimeter, and then Michael and I read the 12-fold square, Met Gungiz, Don Urvan, okay. He'd read the horizontals and I'd read the verticals. So we're having this zoom, 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 boom, 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 zoom, 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 boom, 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 zoom. It's like a machine, a dynamo. And we did 7 whole rounds of that. It took us about 4 minutes. And by the time we're all through, class is all through doing that, we're all stoned out of our minds. Because it's also a breath exercise. Anyway, Jill sat in the driver's seat and gazed at her reflection in the black obsidian mirror. We all sat silent for a few minutes. Then I started asking Jill what was going on. And each member of the class, and Jill was answering sort of from a trance-like state, and I didn't go into everything that was said and done there, but then Jill wrote me a letter or an email, a lengthy email that night outlining her thoughts on things. But anyway, at the end of everything, because still basically we're at the demonstration phase here, I asked the Spirit to charge the table, bless it, and bless the class and charge the class to encourage our magical endeavors with this kind of magic. Then Jill wrote a very insightful letter back, and how when people were asking her questions, she was in such a state that by the time they were answering, or she was hearing the question, even before they were through asking the question, the spirit was delivering the answer and hoping and ready to go on to a next one. So she's making the suggestion that people just, next time, people just introduce themselves and turn her loose on what the spirit or the angel is telling them they need to hear the most, I guess. So it's very insightful. Tuesday, the next day, June 14th, earthquake event, around 8 p.m. While working on correcting handouts for the Holy Table for next week's class, I received a call from my brother informing me that we in Newport Beach there are under tsunami alert because of a 7.0 earthquake in Crescent City, California. Now, the very first thing that we did was off the EHNB of the elemental tablet of spirit, or the tablet of union. And I'm starting to get that, superstitious, we did one, and we got earthquake, now tsunami. But anyway, 7.0 earthquake, 90 miles southwest of the coastal community of Crescent City. Wow. But anyway, that was Tuesday. Thursday, earthquake event. While correcting the Siglum de Ameth handout, the house rocked by a 4.9 magnitude earthquake that seemed to be centered right under my chair. Okay. 4 significant quakes hit Southern California, magnitude 5.2, also in Riverside, which wasn't too far away. But anyway, that's beside the point. Saturday, June 18th, 2005, 8:40 a.m., dream event. Now, I tell everybody that after our Enochian workings, our group workings, after we banish the shit out of the room and before everybody goes home, I tell them to make special note of their dreams and their dream patterns and their sleep patterns after we do these, and to record them if possible. Here's my last night's dreams were quite memorable and strange. Yesterday, I had worked all day recreating the construction of the Siglum de Ameth. I was thinking of the 40 perimeter squares. There's 40 cells that surround the perimeter. And each of those squares are filled with one of 3 things: either numbers over a letter, or a letter over numbers, or a single capital letter. I was thinking of the 40 perimeter squares and numbers as I was falling asleep. Dream, Technicolor, accompanied by ecstatic energy flux, racing heart, finally concerned for physical safety. Certain words and phrases from an open book rose up in place, stood vertical, facing to my left, and hovering over the page. They glowed golden red like they were on fire. Then each fiery letter emitted a little white steam of smoke. like that produced by a stick of incense in very still airspace. The smoke moved with unnatural slowness and drifted up to my left. The same direction the letters and words that now looked like they were written on plates or tiny steles. The vision induced a thrill of ecstasy that caused my heart to race and my breathing to be labored. In half wake, I realized that the cat was sleeping on my chest. I was laying on my right side. The cat was laying on my left side, under my left armpit, putting pressure on my lungs. Next dream. Old books, like in a museum exhibit, in a museum exhibit with antique books. Upon examination, all the books had a broad rectangle cut out of the inside front cover, which contained what looked like one of those health food store health bars, a Walla bar or something like that. The books were all about grape seed. Magic of grapeseed, miracle of grapeseed, alchemy of grapeseed. Do you eat it? I thought. You can, but does it feed you? These are all quotes from the invisible voices. You can, but it doesn't feed you. You feed it, unquote. As if it was the substance that received, transmuted, stored the life that you put in it. I thought of blood and semen and prayer, etc. I then saw a man with a piece of this stuff make a little indentation like the bowl of a pipe with his thumb, and with a toothpick make a couple of holes, like the hole in the stem of a pipe. He then lit up and took a couple of tokes, but nothing was in the bowl. He was just smoking the grapeseed pipe. Like that great hash pipe I used to have that was so full of resin that for years I just smoked the pipe. Next dream. My father was sick in a bedroom. All grown-up Jean-Paul was visiting. I tried to let Dad see and say hi to JP, but Dad said he was too sick and weak to do so. Was as if Dad was in his 90s, as he would have been had he lived. My father died when he was 61. Next dream, I was playing with a beautiful baby. It was smiling and drooling on my beard. Okay, now I don't know if that makes even any sense to me at the moment, and I certainly don't expect it to make sense to you, but I thought it would be a very interesting thing for me to share with you this morning for Sunday school. Anyway, that's it for that little piece of my magical history from June of 2005, and a few words about Monday night Magick Class, having class in your home. I do get messages, Facebook messages from quite a few people that are starting like thelemic study groups and things like that. And I encourage you strongly to continue with that and to develop that. But don't fall into the trap that you're the teacher and they're the students. If you're uncertain what all this magic stuff means, or how it all works, or how you're supposed to execute it. Learn it all together. You just provide the venue. You just sort of be the vessel for the learning to pour into. At the very most, accept the fact that you're facilitating the education, both yours and the people that can behave themselves in your house for 2 hours. So that's it for Sunday school. We've gone, I thought it was going to be 15 minutes today, and we went way over. You probably all have gone on and had breakfast. That's okay too. We'll see you tomorrow for Monday morning class. Until then, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Love is the law, love under will.
I gotta go now. Mom says I gotta come in.
Time to eat.
Okay.
I wonder what happened to him.
Bye.
I thought he got chased up a tree by a dog.
Again.